Well, hello everyone. Good to see. Good to see you all. Feel you all, and welcome to tea. Um, I was sitting in front of the fire one evening. I have a little fireplace here, some wood. I like to sit there late at night when it's all dark and cold up here in the Pacific Northwest, and just kind of contemplate and explore, meditate, just quietly be with myself. And this thought just kind of appeared out of nowhere, thinking about Satsang and everything I've got going on, the classes and the like. And it was like, what I really want to do is just kind of invite everybody over into my living room and have tea. That's really what that's really what I want. The whole formality of it, of Satsang and classes and things like that. It's not me. And the idea that I could have a really big room where you could all come is very appealing. Now I get a lot of ideas about all sorts of things, and this had a real sense of we should just change the name to Tea with G. And I have thought, actually early this morning I was thinking, is that really a good idea? Was that impulsive, right? Which is something I've been in the past. I've done a lot of impulsive things. Like, ooh, that wasn't such a good idea. But then, even as I asked that question, there was just this flood of these beautiful inspiration came to me. Just all the marvelous things and changes and transformations that have occurred over the last several years. So much has changed. So much has changed, right? And all for the better. So many wonderful people have come into my life. The people who just helped with all of this. That, quite frankly, I wouldn't be able to continue being able to pull it off if it had not been for Lisa and Susanna and Sally, and Charisse and Sean, and all sorts of people that have kind of volunteered their time to make this all happen, to keep me on the air. Plus all the people in Buy Me a Coffee and Patreon who have been supporting me. It's so far I haven't had to get a job at Whole Foods selling kale or pulling espresso at a Starbucks. So all is well. But change happens so slowly. It's like aging. We barely notice it. We simply don't know what's happening to us until all of a sudden, I don't know what happens, but you get a shock. When I was about 36, 37 years old when I got divorced. The kids were old enough. I could afford to make everything work. And it was time to get a divorce. Well, after that was over, I'd spent all that time just raising kids, being the dad, and not taking care of myself at all. I mean, not at all. I was always secondary, right? And I remember being on the BART, the Bay Area Rapid Transit, in the tunnel between Oakland and San Francisco. And they had these big, beautiful windows. You could see everything as you're going along. Right? But when it's completely black, like when you're in a tunnel, then these big windows, they're almost like mirrors because of the lights inside, they reflect you back. And all of a sudden I caught a look at myself in the mirror. Oh, I look so horrible. I was fat, I was dumpy, my butt was big, my face had sagged. It's like, you are too young to be dumpy. Especially, you're just about to go back into the dating world, and you look like death warmed over. It just like crept up on me. I mean, I did, resolve myself. I went to the gym. I ended up being really buff and everything. I was a gym rat. I do tend to get a bit extreme about stuff when I do things. But the point is, I'm digressing, of course, but the point is that things happen, you don't even notice it. the beauty of this time was that it was not a shock. It was not something being thrown at my face. It was more like a very gentle recounting, the kind of thing you get, at the end of your life, where there's kind of, well, here's what happened. How'd you go? How'd you do? What do you think about this? Meant to make a little tweaks here and there. Transformation is all there is. That's all there ever is. It's just this giant spinning wheel that goes on forever, and it's spinning around this motionless hub. And we are all both. We are the hub, and we are the spin. I don't know where this is going. There's just a feeling in me that just kind of the vibe has to change, maybe get bigger, maybe expand. But I could feel that it's going to be more of the heart, more expansive, and more healing. But I'm not the guy in charge. I'm just responding to whatever comes along. I think it was about a year ago that the very famous Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh died, and I was really touched by that. I mean, he'd been a figure that I'd been aware of since the '60s, anti-war and all of that, which I was, this diminutive little Vietnamese monk. But when he died, it always makes you ponder when somebody important is, like Jeff Beck died recently, and David Crosby, and people from around my world, right? But I've done a lot of meditations and processing and working through the whole idea of death. And I was going on, I was a month or two before I turned 70 when he died. And I was so totally prepared for the death. But then I heard that when he died, he was 95 years old. And I thought to myself, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Yeah, I'm ready to die, or the aliens can take me, and abduct me. Fine. What if I'm here for another 25 years? What the hell am I going to do? What if the expiration date on my birth certificate is 2047? All right. Oh dear. I actually hadn't thought of it. And it's had a huge impact on me to think, well, what am I going to do? It's a whole other phrase. I have a whole other quarter century to do stuff. And so so when these things kind of come along and people come into your life, transitions take place, a transformation is going on, a transformation you can do nothing about. I didn't cause it. I'm the benefactor of it. I'm not the creator of it. And I said, what do you do? And I don't know where it's going to go. We'll find out together. But I just late evening, sitting in front of the fire, just with this feeling that I just wanted to be really close to people, to be more and more of the heart, less and less of the head, and just kind of have tea with everyone. So that's where it came from. That's where we're going. No idea. So on that note, welcome to tea, everybody, and thank you for joining me. So if I look through here, Rosario says the new name, Tea with G, is like sitting by your side. That is exactly what I wanted. Exactly what I wanted. And someday I hope to actually sit with all of you in real life, person to person. Hopefully we'll be doing some live things this year. Well, I got one coming up. I'm going to be speaking at a Unity Church at the end of February. So any of you are in the Seattle area, you're invited. I'll be telling everybody about it later, as soon as I know what I'm going to talk about. So, hello, Liza. Hello, Robbie from Romania. There's Anthony. 5:30 a.m. in Adelaide. Okay, if I have coffee, by all means, by all means, I'm having mate, which is it's a kind of a tea. Well, coffee with tea is allowed, absolutely. With anything in it, you can have lattes. I don't know, it doesn't matter. You can have a pint if you want, but 5:30 in the morning, I hope not. Hello, Mary. Good to see you. Thank you, Brent. Brent, yes, coffee is highly encouraged. There's a nice title yourself. So thank you, Mary. Merck, hello, GP, and from all the dark north, buck up, y'all. It's tea time. Ceremonial grade matcha level tea time. Wonderful. Hello, John. Irish coffee for me. It's Egle. Hi, everyone. Cup of tea is ready. Well, I guess everybody likes the name. I didn't know how people were going to respond to it, or even send me, whatever, where's Soto? Hello, Oscar. Hello, SP Weasel. Squeezel. Hello, I am Drifter. David Elaine, hello. We just finished a nice cup of oolongs. We're all set. Excellent. Nighttime here, so I have my chamomile. Oh, very good. I love it. Hi, GP. Hi, Facebook user. Dorothy from Denmark. Sally. Hello, Sally. Wonderful. There's Jonah. Say hello, GP. Being with my little girl, Isabel, today on my birthday, and I've been looking forward to this for 2 weeks. Oh, wonderful. Sounds a bit off today. Oh, you know what? I stood up before to get this, and I forgot to pull the mic back. Sorry about that, folks. It was pointed in the other direction. I'm surprised. I wish I would have seen that earlier. Anyway, all right. I guess y'all heard me. This sounds better now, I'm sure. Hello, everyone. Hello, Carl. Hello, Anya. Hello, Merck. So everything is forever flowing and changing, morphogenesis. But the hub of the wheel doesn't ever move unless it's somehow seemingly out of whack. Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah, that's what, you know, the word suffering that we use is, and the way the Buddha used it and was translated from both Pali and Sanskrit. When he said the word suffering, it was the word dukkha. And dukkha in Sanskrit refers to the hub of a wheel that has gotten out of true and the wheel can't move. This is what suffering. This is the whole thing about dissolving the egoic mind. It's not this, you know, this great quest, this great evil thing. It's just when we identify with any position, with any sense of our persona or any belief system or anything, the wheel stops moving. We get stuck. We get stuck in a position. When I get stuck in that position, I see the world through that position, and my life begins to just kind of circle back on itself. And it's repetitive and over again. This is the great release, the great liberation, when you have realized that you're nobody at all. You're nobody in particular, which sounds scary to the mind, but in fact liberates you to be anything at any time that you need to be. Just like, you know, we already do, you know, when you're different with your friends and with your family or with your lovers, or with your teachers, with people you work with bosses, with employees, there's a different version of you that comes out in everyone. And yet we have this idea that somehow there's this one guy in there, right? There's this one guy in there, right? And this is what he's like. And so we cling, and clinging, you know, that's attachment. We are clinging. Ultimately, the releasing of attachments is we're not clinging to something out there, really. People think of the attachment, the things that I want, the things that I care about, my dreams, my life, and all that. What we're attached to unwittingly is the sense of self. And that that very limited sense of self has attachments to all this stuff. So you don't have to worry about your attachment to anything out there. Just find that place where you're stuck, where you have been stuck in a sense of identity. Once heard a Zen master say, don't ask if you're stuck, just ask where. And you'll find that that's where the fluidity comes from. That's where the Tao is. That's where the flow is. Right? When you are no longer anybody in particular, and you find you can be anybody, anywhere, anytime, which removes all the limitations off of the human self. Right? It liberates you from just being, another, carbon-based bipedal self-replicating food processor. It liberates the whole thing so that nothing is stuck anywhere, which is how you fulfill the full destiny and wholeness of your human life, which is a great mystery and a great miracle. It is not a punishment to be born a human. It's like, let me out, let me out. It's not a punishment. It's a wondrous mystery of how all of this just appeared to this disembodied consciousness, which you actually are. Oh, I could go on about that all night, but I'll just kind of press on here now that the mic is working. Thank you, Anya. Tea is a very good idea. Vicky Grace. Hello, Vicky. Love G. I'd love to ask you, how is it possible if I imagine, for example, a famous singer has a dog named Harvey? A month later, I find out his dog is really called Harvey. Are we that connected? Well, I think you just answered your own question. I get these impulses all the time, Just, I went into the gym to work out this morning, and I walked over. Sometimes people bring locks to put on them, but sometimes people just put their stuff in there. And I just knew which ones had stuff in it. I just felt it. I opened up, sure enough, there was stuff in it. That one's empty, and sure enough, it was empty. Yeah, I have psychic powers? Yeah, absolutely I do. Special psychic powers. $500 an hour. I'll tell you what your future is. No, it's just that when these things happen all the time, and then we notice them, and they're so outside our normal way of thinking about things, we give them this supernatural status. This is what it's actually like. This is what we really are. That kind of what we call synchronicity. Right? We are more than connected. We are one. There's only one of us here. We are all different faces on exactly the same soul. We're all fish that are in and of the ocean. We are the ocean and we are the fish. This is the wondrous mystery of human existence. So yeah, a dog named Harvey. You just picked it up. Don't turn it into anything special, but just open yourself up to, oh, this is naturally how we are. We just don't trust it. And because, once again, normally you think, oh, it's something phenomenal. We want to study it, and where's the connection? Is there an electronic thing? Is there vibration or something like that? No, it's the simple fact that we're one. When you watch a flock of birds flying, right? In their V as they're headed south or north, and all of a sudden they all turn at the same time. I mean, there's nobody sitting there, with the headset on, barking out orders to them. Okay, flight 30, over to the right. And you look at how do they do that, and they study them, electromagnetic fields in their brain and the stuff. But the fact is that we're one. The most obvious thing, but the most difficult thing for the mind to accept. It wants to make two and find connections, because there is no connection between one. We are all operating from exactly the same place. And as these scales fall from our eyes, we're going to see the world completely differently. I mean, the same thing, the veil between the living and the dead, it doesn't really exist. It has no existence. I heard a story about a man who was dying. He was told by the guy who ran ran a hospice here in Seattle, actually. Rodney Smith, I think is his name. And there was a man there who was very close to death. And the family came in, and it turns out his younger brother, Ben, who was quite a bit younger than him, had been killed in an accident that morning. And they had a conversation with the head of the hospice, saying, should we tell him? Should we tell him? He's so near death, it's just going to upset him, going to make it worse. And the administrator said, well, I can't really answer that for you. Why don't you just go in and see him and see what happens? So they all go in there, and the administrator's with them. And he's kind of going in and out of consciousness. He's kind of there, and then he's kind of gone, and he comes back. One of the times he's there, and he's quite lucid, quite present. He says, "Don't you have something to tell me?" And they say, "What?" He says, "Ben died this morning, didn't he?" "Why didn't you tell me?" And he said, "How did you know?" He said, "I've been talking to him." Things are not what we think they are. Our mind has made little walls around us. Like we're all sitting in a cave, and the walls don't exist. They're only in the mind. You have no idea what you are capable of. No idea whatsoever. So I just let that unfold in your heart. So yes, Vicky, we are that connected. You can't get more connected than one. Even connected is too far apart. Lovely. Thank you for that. Carl, hi G. If the I am has no preference agenda, is an attempt to improve, change my life still coming from conditioning? Hence, the I am will not create beneficial circumstances for the human in their life. It's a good one. This is a good one. This is a good one. We have to be willing to embrace both the pure absoluteness of one without a second, the utter totality of the absolute being, of which there is no opposite, and simultaneously accept the wonder and the mystery of this world that is nothing but opposites. Reconciling those two, coming to see that those two are one, is the whole point of this. It isn't to dismiss one. It isn't to explain away human life, but to see that human life is the absolute made manifest to itself. So in the absolute, there are no preferences for what? Well, I'm infinite. I'm immortal. What do I have a preference for? This is the true nature. But how does that preferenceless reality manifest itself? Well, it has to be preference for that over that. It has to be. The opposite has to manifest it. Right? And so from the point of view, the manifest world, I'm going to prefer that over that. I'd rather live here than in Omaha. Sorry, anybody here listening from Omaha, I visited there. I'd rather live here. Right? That's my preference. Now, if I, for some reason, had to be there, and for one time in my career I had to, then I can let go of that preference and just be where I am now. Right? So to answer your question about what about the changing and improving of life? Well, what am I doing right now? I'm talking about the thing that came to me about making this change. Right? I'm assuming it's going to be a progressive change, a change for the better. It's going to evolve into something bigger. Maybe I'll get that viral video it's at some point, and suddenly they want me to monetize, or I get the big check from a donor or something like that, right? Who knows? So conditioning, conditioning casts a distorted lens. It projects a distorted view onto what is actually happening. That the will, the energy of improving, that evolving, growing, doesn't belong to conditioning. That's the nature of life itself. The conditioning is the sense of a personal self that has an attachment to this or that, and therefore interprets that evolution, that growth, the spiritual aspirations from the point of view of a limited person. It tries to take ownership of what it never created. It is the circus clown running out to take the bow after the acrobats perform. The nature of growth and transformation is the nature of manifest life. There's no manifest life without it. And it is constant, and it never changes, not for 1 minute. This is the nature of the manifest world, the nature of life itself, which is the absolute made manifest. And then conditioning is a limited sense of that, a sense of being a person, a limited being, projecting upon that which is not limited and never stops moving. In other words, the conditioning identifies itself with a thing that's spinning around at the edge of the hub rather than the reality, which is you are the hub of it. But the hub of a wheel doesn't exist without the wheel, and the wheel doesn't exist without a hub. So the two are one. And this is the mystery. The human life is the absolute. You can't say there's the absolute and the manifest. The song is music. Music is the song. You cannot separate them. And this is what we try to do. And so when I talk about the conditioning, I'm talking about false ideas projected on the reality. The reality is the self has no preference for what happens. If we can see that, we drop our assumptions. We drop all of our ideas about what's happening, what should be happening, right? It frees us from the conditioning that wants to hold a position. And yet at the same time allows for this wonderful flow to take place, right? So you got up this morning, right? I heard it here, right? Some people wanted tea, somebody wanted coffee, and I think I want latte. Somebody wanted chamomile tea. I'm drinking mate, right? Why am I drinking mate and not having a latte? My preference in the morning, in the moment. Is there anything wrong with that? So we don't want to confuse the absolute, the purity, the ultimate potential of all music, right? And limit it to a particular song. You have to see that they're one, right? I mean, what a world it would be if the only music we could make was polkas. It'd be fun. We'd be dancing a lot, but that's not all there is to it, is there? And yet, that's as much music as a Beethoven symphony, isn't it? In it. So, when we drop all of our personal preferences, we find that the absolute always has a preference for love, for harmony, for truth, for beauty. And we begin to see it. We no longer see it through this foggy lens. We see it through the eyes of the absolute. And the absolute is looking at itself and saying, wow, I'm really great. Thank you, Carl. It's all about real connection. Igle, so heartwarming. Oh, thank you, Igle. I'd long to sit with you all, says Anya. It would be wonderful to sit together. We will. I am determined to do some kind of an event, some kind of a retreat or something in Europe. I'm determined, as well as in Canada. We're actually looking at one maybe in April up near Toronto. Lisa and I are really wanting to make that happen. I am. I'd love to drive to Oregon to see you talk. Oh, it's Bellevue. It's not that far a drive, is it? It'll be a talk. It'll be a Sunday morning. I'll be speaking at their service. I'm going to do a 25-minute sermon, I guess. Break out my polemics notebook. I will be leading a meditation, and then I guess there's a break for tea and a snack afterwards, and then I'll be doing a workshop for a couple hours after that. So it'd be worth driving up. It won't be just me doing a 15-minute talk. It'd be worth driving up for. I'll be letting everybody know. I'm also going to try to work it out so that we can. The service will definitely be live streamed, so I'll give everybody a link to be able to get to that. But we're gonna talk to them about live streaming the workshop as well. So again, I don't know what I'm going to talk about yet. I think it's going to be something to do with Christian mysticism, because it is a unity church, which is a New Thought Christian church. A lot of Course in Miracles and things like that. So that's probably going to be the direction it's going, but we're not really sure yet. So, hello, Sharon. Finally made it live. I was so glad. So glad. Hey, G, Coffee Gang. Hello, that name I can't pronounce. T4 SS4. Oh, you gave it to me before, and I can't remember what it was now. T4. Anyway, Sally, why do all the masters talk of awareness as all there is? When all anyone can experience is their own personal field of awareness. Well, that field of awareness that you are experiencing is that infinite, pure field of awareness. We just have the idea. There's just the idea there that it's personal. It's not. It's just a thought. Thus, it's, this is personal, because there's an image in the mind of a person. And of course, we have to be aware of that person, and we are aware through that person, and we're seeing things through the person's eyes. But would any of that be able to happen were it not for the awareness? So the discovery is that what I was calling my personal awareness is, in fact, the impersonal infinite awareness. That's it. It's just a thought that it's not. So it's not like there's this little awareness that eventually merges with the big awareness. It's just a wall of the mind. There isn't a little awareness. There's only the one awareness, and you're it, and you're experiencing it all the time. And so it's just a matter of the definition of it, isn't it? It's just the infinite is being called the finite. Right? The universal is experienced as an individual, and projected on the individual appearance of the absolute, of the universal, is the thought that this is an independent functioning person, a self, where there is no self. Right? The self is a projection, and the only thing that can project a self would have to be the self. It's the only one that's got it. Right? So we're not getting out of our finite consciousness into a big consciousness as if they're two. We're losing the idea that there's anything other than the big consciousness, and I'm it. The consciousness I'm having right now, the one you're having right now, the one that's hearing my words right this minute, that is the absolute. Only the absolute. Only awareness is aware. And there's only one of them. The idea that there's more than one of them is simply an idea appearing in that awareness. And we think, well, they've got their own, and they've got their own, and they've got their own. I challenge you to actually see if that's true. How do you know? All you know is them appearing in your awareness. Now drop the your. Everyone appearing in awareness. And you suddenly become the universal, the absolute. And you see that there's no contradiction. The awareness, the universal, manifests as the individual, as the particular. Does that help, Sally? Love you. Caroline, happy Sunday to you. You sound much better. Yeah, you sound much better. Yeah. It's going to say something about the sound. Thank you for correcting it. Yeah, that sucked. Oh well. My whole beginning there is gone. Yeah. Oh well. Ava. Now you heard much. Thank you, Brent. Brent, we are born into this world with a song in our ears, yet we may first come to know it by its absence. Jack Garfield. Yes. I've said that numerous times. The reality of the existence of something is experienced either in its presence or its absence. This is the idea of scarcity and abundance and all of that. Things can appear as the negative or the positive. And I use that like from photography, right? You take a picture back in the days when we used film, and you would get a negative. I mean, it is the scene completely flipped backwards. The fact is, I can't talk about scarcity or not having or going without a sense of having an abundance. You can't do it. It is a suppositional opposite. And it's always the positive that is the presence, the ultimate presence. So that in the oneness, I mean, there's no such thing as lack or scarcity to the absolute. In the manifestation of it, it can appear as the yin or the yang. It can appear in the presence or the absence. And that's where we get confused. Sometime, everybody has a feeling that something's missing. Well, how do you know? If it was really missing, if what you were feeling is missing really didn't exist, there could be no desire for it. There could be no sense of it. It truly would be nothing. But it is there. We feel it in its absence, which clues us in to the at least the potential that there's a presence of it. And of course, the thing that we're craving the most is ourselves. That's the song. I want to sing my song, the song of me, the Gita of me, the Gita of G, the Gita of Brent, the Gita of Lamont. So, thank you, Brent. Does that help? Lamont, good to see you. My buddies in St. Louis. Robbie, some tips on becoming more creative. Do original ideas come from some place, or to combine past ideas into something new, or seeing things in a different way? Maybe an empty mind is a good start. Oh, empty mind, good start. I think it was a Korean master, a student of Swan Song, who he asked some students the question. They go, I don't know. He says, very good. Don't know. Good mind. Good mind. Where do things come from? We don't have to make a big philosophical thing out of it. Just stop for a minute and look. Where does the thought you just had to type that, where did it come from? Who knows? That's the mystery. It arises out of nothing. But it can't be nothing, because it was actually nothing. I mean, no existence, nothing could arise. It's the great nothing that is something. Shunyata, emptiness, the absolute, the unmanifest, right? And so a creative idea arises. Well, who knows it's creative? How do you know it's creative? Oh, I just know. You can see there's a whole lot going on there when that creative thought comes. And sometimes it is a recombination of what came before. Sometimes it's this would really look good over here, right? Or a repurposing of something. I've got a couple of sawhorses that I bought and stuck a couple of shelves on them. That's my desk. So I repurposed it. The renovated house. I renovated an apartment and a house in my life. I'll never do it again. but it's all just what was, it's becoming new. It's just part of the deal. So the very fact that you recognize creativity, that's the first start on becoming more creative. You cannot get more creative than the infinite mind. You simply can't, right? Creativity is happening all the time. Do you think this world was created at a point in time and now it's just kind of going on and on itself? It didn't exist a second ago and it won't exist a second from now. It is constantly being created. It is constantly being generated. Nothing exists in the past. There is no past. What is happening right now is the creative magnanimity of the absolute. It is the creative nature of the absolute. And the creative nature of the absolute you can call the infinite mind, the one mind, the creative power, as opposed to the conditioned mind, which is a very constricted little view of it. It's like the thumb blocking the sun. It can do it. If you feel far enough away from the sun, the closer you get to the sun, the bigger the thumb needs to be to block it. So you don't have to be more creative. You're not the source of the creativity. Notice there's a sense that me personally am more creative, want to be more creative. This is coming from me. Do you think any of the words I'm saying are coming from me? Who is this me anyway? That's like, little kids would, look at the TV and look and see who the little people in the TV, right? Or who's the lady singing on the radio? Where is she? Where is she? There's nobody there. The original autopsies that were done on people were to try to find the soul. There's nobody there, right? There's no person there. The creativity is the nature of existence itself, which is in a constant mode of creativity and never has writer's block, never misses a beat. Identify with the creator of the universe. Identify meaning make identical with. I am one with. I am that creator of the universe. My entire life is a constant creation. And then sit back and just float down the river of the Tao instead of trying to make it a personal thing. You consider this body-mind GP as a radio, right? You can take it completely apart. You will not find anybody there. Beautiful, Robbie. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, Mary, I have a good question for you. Well, get on with it, girl. Oscar, whoa, there's only one of us here. Mary, we are told we live in a matrix. Hold on a second. I didn't want to cough into the mic and blast people's ears. We're told we live in a matrix. So if we are to get out of this matrix, does this also mean that we will put ourselves in another matrix so we can continue to our eternal evolution instead of remaining spiritual disembodied spirit? Again, the mistake that's being made is that somehow the two are that there are two and not one. Right? How do you get out of the matrix? Well, it doesn't matter, matrix and then another matrix, or this illusion and then another illusion, this dream and then another dream. Something isn't in the matrix, is it? Something that is experiencing the matrix, right? And obviously isn't in the matrix. So what I perceive, the experiences that I have, which all come and go, this whole life I can look at as a matrix, or I can look at it as the most beautiful manifestation of the pure reality of being. And that everything, if I view it as something I'm stuck in, will appear to be like a prison. And in fact, it's exactly the opposite. It is the manifestation of the one. And so you you can look at it as I've got to get out of the matrix, or you can say, oh, I'm always out of the matrix. And the matrix isn't the matrix at all. It just happens to be what I'm experiencing. And the experiencing is arising spontaneously out of my own nature. So where are you in that? Are you actually in the matrix? Right? If you put on your VR glasses, yeah, you'll have the total experience, won't you? But are you actually in there? No, you're always on the outside of it. Always. And at that point, the experience you're having, VR or matrix or illusion, whatever you want to call it, is no longer frightening. It's no longer a threat. It's like, oh, this is experience. And I'm not here. I'm not in it. This isn't my life. This is just the experience. In fact, without me, there couldn't be an experience. So it needs to bow down to me, not the other way around. I don't have to get out of anything. I have to just drop all these ideas that somehow there's a little me that's trapped somewhere. Oh, let me out, let me out. I mean, I don't know how else to put it, because you can see that the whole idea of calling it a matrix is this idea that we're stuck somewhere that we have to get out of. Right? What if you're not stuck? What if the idea that there is a matrix that I have to get out of is where you're stuck? What if that is the matrix that gives rise to all the rest of them? Just check in right now with your own being. Is that the matrix? Is that an illusion? Even if if all of this is nothing but an illusion, right? That being, is that? Because if it is, there's got to be something there having the illusion, doesn't it? But all you have to do is look at my own being, and you see that's not an illusion, and I don't have to go any further than that. I don't have to keep going in and in and in. It's like this infinite recursion. It's like, oh, my being, that's it. All of this is secondary. All of this is coming and going. All of this is constantly changing. All is impermanent, always without a self. The ultimate realization of Siddhartha, which turned him into the Buddha. All is impermanent. All is without a self. All is myself. Does that help, Mary? Bob, oh, so good to see you. So good to see you again. Merck says, being just a carbon-based bipedal self-replicating food processor is very rough. If you identify with it and want it to be something else, without the carbon-based bipedal self-replicating food processor, you'd have no experience. You'd never taste the honey. You'd never taste the tea. You'd never kiss a girl. You'd never walk in a sunset. You'd never feel the wind on your face. You'd never see a tree. This is the mysterious gift of the carbon-based bipedal self-replicating food processor. It is a blessing. It is auspicious. It is magnificent. It is the self knowing itself. It is the reality known. It is the knowingness itself. It is nothing to be, this isn't the veil of tears we need to escape from. It is unbearable beauty and an ocean of tears. This is the wonder. I was going to speak today. I got started on the T with G, but I was going to speak today about that, about this mysterious, wondrous, miraculous, confusing thing called human life, and the utter significance of being born a human, the rare opportunity and this singular place, the absolute middle between the unbearable beauty and the ocean of tears. This is the place, the only place of ultimate enlightenment. And yes, it can be rough, and it can also be just unbearably beautiful. Right? Embrace both, and suffering ends. Prefer one over the other, and suffering is there. The absolute produces both and has no preference. The great way is easy for those who have no preference. Eat the honey and the sauerkraut. Bob says, speaking about synchronicity, today I became aware that I need to be someone important. I've never been aware of that, and I was really shocked and amused. Oh, shocked, great, amused, even better. Yes. It lies at the center of it. Yeah, I still feel that one coming up for me. You know, I wanted to be a rock star, right? I wanted to be important. You know, then I was a techno wizard, and I wanted to be the techno guru, and you know, I'd be the great spiritual speaker and speak all over the place, and you know, instead of the rock star, girls throwing panties at me, it would be spiritual panties, I guess. It pops up, right? The egoic sense of self wants to have something it can hold on to that gives it some sense of existence, some meaning, some place, right? And it can hold on to, I want to be important, I want to not be important. The spiritual one, I'm going to eschew all importance. I'm just going to be humble now. Which is the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. The true sense of self is emptiness. You're just empty. And it's such a wonderful thing when we see this thing, oh my God, I'm trying to be important, right? Now, notice the consciousness that recognized that. Right? Because before you were just in it, right? It was going on, you didn't know it. So what happened? Something opened and saw it. Went, oh, look at that. And was both shocked and amused. Oh, look at that. As Buddha would have said it when he was sitting under when Buddha was sitting under the Bodhi tree, prior to the enlightenment, it was still Siddhartha, it was Buddha to be. And Mara came, you know, the devil, with his 3 beautiful daughters, which were like, lust, greed, and passion. Right? Just beautiful women. You could have them if you want. Right? Look at all the things you could do. You're so important. You know, you could be you're a king. You're going to be a king. Look at all the things that you could bring. Buddha's response was, I see you, Mara. I see you. And he remained unmoved. You are now the Buddha under the tree saying, I see you. I see you. And be shocked and amused. and grateful. And it may come up again, right? You may fall into it. But notice that the seeing of it, right? Now, which one is more you? That sense of wanting to be important, or the one who has been looking at it? And isn't the one that looking at this, seeing it, to actually be able to see that, isn't that just the most important thing in the whole universe? To be able to see it? Whew. How funny that you end up with the importance by seeing the false sense of importance. You step into the true kingdom, the real importance. Ah, I see you, Mara. Some bitch, I see you. Divine 5353. Can you talk about twin flame connection? Merge of polarities, the soul connection that bring down the inner system to build up a new reality-based one. You know, I just dictated to myself the other day something about soulmates. A twin flame kind of thing. You know, there's a wonderful phenomena that happens out in the universe, and it's called a twin star system. And they're two stars, and they can each have planets and moons and stuff, and they're actually orbiting around each other. So I do it this way, right? And and just like the Earth and the Sun, sometimes they're further away, and then sometimes they're very close. This beautiful dance, right? Both very, very different. And what's really amazing about it is that over billions of years, they keep getting closer until at some point they will actually collide, merge, and become one. It's a beautiful, beautiful metaphor for this deep desire we all have for that connection, the ultimate connection with other to dissolve into the connection that is one. I mean, what is it that we want more than to be one with somebody? And if you've ever really been in love with somebody, you just don't want, you want all the boundaries gone, right? Even the body is too clumsy. Even the midst of making love, it's not close enough. Closer. I want to get closer. So the soul, the twin flame connection, the soul connection doesn't have to be with a romantic partner. Matter of fact, it's a theme. Like, there's no such thing as one soulmate, one twin flame. Right? So remember, these guys here that are spinning around each other, they're also spinning around within their galaxy, right? And clusters and the like. So you can't take it out of context. Anybody who brings something of value to you is your soulmate. Sometimes it's somebody who hurts you, but out of that you bring down the inner system to build up a new reality-based one. Your eyes get open. Something touches you. Sometimes it could be a book falling off of a shelf on your head. I had a friend of mine that actually happened to in a bookstore. Right? No earthquakes there. She was in Buenos Aires, right? In a bookstore. No earthquakes there. Nobody around. And this book out of nowhere falls on top of her head. Needless to say, she bought it and read it. It made a huge contribution to her life. That's a soulmate. The one who wrote that book is a soulmate. Right? Now, of course, we all have the romantic yearning for that. And of course, and in some cases, it actually gets fulfilled. Right? It never has for me. Right? But it could. If I live another 25 years, what the hell? So they're always designed, however, whatever form they take, to bring down our inner systems, to bring down our inner stuckness, our inner solidity. They shake us, right? They shake us out of our stuckness. They shake us out of our rigidity and throw us back into orbit once again, right? This motion, when you look at that motion and the motion of galaxies, and you see, this is the Shiva's wheel. This is the spinning of life and death. What's at the center of it, right? The center of a galaxy is an enormous black hole. What's a black hole? It's something you can't see because not even light gets out of it. We don't actually ever see a black hole. We see the effect it has on absolutely everything else. It's a beautiful metaphor for the self. And around the black hole, around this thing that holds everything together and gives motion and life to all things, right, are all these twin souls coming and going, spinning and rejoining in multiple orbits simultaneously. So just really expand it. And you'll begin to see it everywhere. You'll begin to see it everywhere. We're all twin flames here, aren't we? We are all revolving around this same theme of the deep hunger for truth, the deep yearning for what we don't even know we're yearning, right? But we do know. We're yearning for something that we cannot articulate. We don't even know what it is. And yet the yearning is real. So something in us does know what it is. Right? This makes us all twin flames, doesn't it? All revolving in each other's orbits. So, a beautiful question. Thank you, Divine 5353. Daryl, well, damn, I walk away for a minute and bam, it's a whole new show. I'm here for it. Yeah, I think it's had the name Satsang for I don't know, 6 years, 8 years. The very first thing I did was conversations with G. And there may be some people here who actually remember that. It was on the Law of Attraction radio network of all places. And it went on for a couple of years. Yeah. Anyway, Egle, speaking about supernatural, a couple of days ago, I stumbled upon G's video, and I had a sense that something is off with the title Satsang, and I thought that it would be better if changed. Well, then, where did the idea come from? Me or come from you? Get out of my head, Egle. Get out of my mind. Isn't that funny? How that it actually helps confirm it for me that this is the right path, right? That it was kind of in the atmosphere, and you picked up on it. How lovely, how utterly lovely. So, needless to say, I'm going to keep it. And my tea got cold. Yeah, well, I need to have a servant who fixes me lattes. A personal chef, that would do it. Any volunteers? Sally says, thank you, that helps. Very good. Patricia in Los Angeles. Hello, Patricia. Mary G. I am here just listening as I'm going through my old books, and a nervous energy started to rise within. There were no particular thoughts. It just came. Any suggestions to do, as this happens a lot? I believe it's my nervous system and its conditioning. Well, it definitely is. It definitely is the nervous system. It definitely is conditioning. And, with your background of just being brutalized by evangelicals, there can be a lot of nervous stuff that comes up. It's just an anticipation of being shamed, of being hurt, right? So don't make a big deal out of it. Don't try to figure it out, right? Just when it comes up, how about meeting it with loving kindness? Oh, there's that feeling again. Hello. Hello, Mara. How you doing? Thich Nhat Hanh tells the most beautiful story. Oh, I love this story. Buddha is in his cave meditating. He is now the Buddha. Long time. And remember, Mara, when Mara left that last time in Buddha's enlightenment, he said, I'll be back. And, dozens and dozens of times throughout the sutras, Mara shows up again. Well, there's a story that Thich Nhat Hanh tells of the Buddha meditating in a cave. He's by himself, meditating deeply in a cave. And outside is Ananda, his assistant, his trusted assistant, who's his personal attendant, really takes care of all the stuff. And up to the cave comes Mara, the devil, right? He says, I want to see the Buddha. And Ananda says, sorry, he's too busy. He can't do it. He's tired. He just can't hear it. Now out of the cave comes the voice of the Buddha saying, Ananda, is that my old friend Mara? Oh, set a table with some tea. I want to have tea with him. And out he comes, and the two of them sit down at the table, and he says, Mara, old friend, how you doing? Mara said, it kind of sucks. Nobody likes me. Everybody hates. Everybody runs away from me. It's tough being the evil one. And the Buddha says, yeah, it is. Me too. The Buddha, nobody listens to me. They misinterpret everything I say. They don't follow my instructions. It's really, really hard. And the two of them have a lovely conversation, and Mara goes on about his way. Can you have tea with Mara? Maybe that's where the seed got planted. I'm not sure which it came first, that changing the name. No, actually, after he changed the name, I heard that story. So the whole tea thing began to open up. But can you have tea with Mara? Nobody thinks about that. Oh, the devil, exorcise the devil. Why don't you have tea with the devil? It's like, it must suck. right? Being the bad guy of the movie all the time. So when these things come up, can you meet them with the most loving kindness? Oh, there's nervousness again. Right? Instead of, how do I get rid of this? You can feel that's the energy, right? Instead of, oh, my old friend, how you doing? Nervous, huh? Okay, let's sit together with it. What's going on? Just tell me your story. Notice the shift that brings about, just as you're hearing me say it now. We don't have to figure out if it's conditioning. Yes, it's conditioning, right? It's energy that has not been loved into the light is basically what it is. That's all conditioning is. It's all this thing we had to become because we couldn't be who we were, because the environment wasn't loving enough for that to happen. So love it. Love that part of you coming up. Rejoice in that coming up, because without Mara, there'd have been no Buddha. Oops. Without the Mara, there'd have been no Buddha. Without the crucifixion, there'd been no resurrection. There'd been no savior. So rejoice in your own crucifixion. Rejoice in the temptations of Mara. Rejoice when he offers things. Rejoice when he throws flaming arrows at you. Rejoice when he triggers that nervousness, that anxiety, something bad might happen. Because so many times in the past it did. So of course it's going to feel that there's some impending doom, right? That's the flaming arrows of Mara. Invite it to tea. Invite it here with me, as you just did. You just brought it up and brought it to tea with me. And I welcome it. I welcome all of that energy. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Does that help, Mary? Lovely, lovely, lovely. There's that name I can't pronounce. T4, I guess they're SS4. I'm very sorry, I don't remember. You gave it to me one time. Anyway, thank you for mentioning Unity Church, G. I'd never heard of that before and found there is one in my city. What a wink from the all. Yeah, it is. It's quite lovely. Lovely people. Very much into the Course of Miracles. It's kind of the metaphysical crowd from there was the New Thought really was like Christian Science, religious science, which became science of mind, and unity. They all kind of came from the same lineage. And Science of Mind, which became Centers for Spiritual Living, and Unity, both really embraced A Course in Miracles, and which kind of breathed new life into them. Very open. They were, at a time when there was a lot of persecution going on of LGBTQ people, or it was completely open and receiving all of them, and some of them are really quite large. I think they've got about like 50 to 100 members. I can't remember in this one. Some of them, several hundred members, and so yes, and the fact that I'm invited to speak is the Reverend is a fan, and so when I made it known that I'm available for speaking, they jumped on it, and it's yes, it could be a beautiful place. There's several of these kinds of. I think the Universalist Church. There's a couple of them that are just so open to all of this that that it can be a place for us to meet something that we all have, right? I mean, our Sunday morning going to church was a big part of the life, for so many people, especially around the world. And, when the church falls away and you see through it and you have a whole different life, well, what do you do? Well, go to a Zendo and meditate with people, join a Sangha, show up. There's usually, if you're near any kind of a big city, there's a Zen center or a Tibetan center that offers, open meditation sits, even on Sundays, right? They'll have a Sunday service. And it's really good to practice with others. It's really good to do that, to be part of a community. That's something I'm finding more and more with myself, because I tend to be rather solitary guy, right? I'm alone almost all the time, and I'm realizing, no, I need to be more a part of a community, both for myself and for what I have to offer. And that again, if I got another 25 years, what the hell am I going to do? I guess I just shouldn't sit in here in my little dark room. So yeah, it's wonderful. They're wonderful. It's wonderful people. When you go into their bookstores, you won't just see Bibles. You'll see all sorts of different books. I think there's Center for Spiritual Living in Las Vegas actually has my book in it, The Tao of Allowing. So there you go. So thank you for that. Lisa, lovely new name and look. Tea with G. Thank you, Lisa. Dee Dee, hello everyone. Just got hit in the head by a light bulb. Literally. Hopefully we'll awaken great ideas. Undoubtedly. Undoubtedly it will, Dee Dee. Awesome answer about the Matrix, GP, from Mary. When I had my experience of what I call stepping out of the Matrix, I saw that I was watching it and a whole different understanding of it. Yeah, it's gentle. Yeah, gentle. Gentle. I can't emphasize it enough. Invite it to tea. I guess this theme of tea is working, isn't it? I'm thinking of permutations and creative recombinations of it. Hello, Bo. Hello, Jean, everybody. What a great explanation of the Matrix. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Lisa, Dawn, I had a twin flame union too that started my process. This is a different Lisa. Yes. Carlucci, GNT and spiritual panties. Well, Satsang is truly evolving. Oh, I hope that's not too off color for this very pious crowd. Oscar, I had a twin flame connection too. It happened after my Kundalini awakening experience. I always felt like there's only me and my twin flame, and this entire universe exists, and the rest is here just because of us. Well, the rest of it here is, in a sense, it is. I mean, the whole universe is the backdrop to your life, isn't it? And that includes everybody else in it. Right? I'm a backdrop to your life. Right? I am an extra. I mean, I have in some people's lives, I have a supporting role, right? In others, I'm an extra. I'm just on the set. And this is true of every single life. Every single life is the peripheral of the universe, a boundary, just kind of on the sidelines, just people talking in the restaurant while the stars are doing whatever it is they're doing. And you're also the star. You're right dead center in it. And what could your life be if it didn't have this incredible backdrop of a universe, of a world, of others, in order to unfold itself? So, yeah, in a very real sense, it is. It all does exist for you, and you exist for all the rest. And my universe, in which I'm the star, would be incomplete without you. Isn't that amazing? Lisa, I could feel energy flowing through my body while texting with him. One of the most exciting experiences I've ever had. Yeah, it is wonderful. It is wonderful. Yeah. When that kind of a connection takes place, there's nothing like it. It is pure joy. And when, like Buddha, you realize the impermanence of all things, you cherish it even more. Because nothing is forever. That's the nature of impermanence. I think it was Ajahn Chah, who's a Tibetan master, had this beautiful old teacup, antique Chinese teacup. I mean, hundreds of years old, and he'd always have tea in it. And he said that, for me, this teacup is already broken. He says, I know, it can happen. You know, I reach for something unthinkingly, right? Something comes along, something shakes, somebody bumps the table, and it's on the floor and it's broken. I know this teacup is already broken, which makes it the most precious thing in the world to me. Every minute I have with it is divine, is a blessing, is a gift, is pure grace. Oh, if we only realized that there's no such thing as an experience, the twin flame, that connection, the soulmate, it will not last. Then this moment is a gift from the gods. And treat it like that. Treat everyone like that. Even the people you can't stand, right? They're a gift from the gods. Invite them to tea. Loving the tea theme. Divine 53 says, thank you, blessings. Blessings to you. You're so welcome. Oh, Pat remembers conversations with G. That's right. You've been around that long, haven't you? God damn, that's like 12 years ago? Wow. That was a long time ago. Drifter, I'm close. I'd volunteer, but I'm no chef. Neither am I. Oh, God. I wish I was. Lisa is, but she lives in Toronto, or outside of Toronto. Egle, and I also just wanted to share that I broke up with my beloved boyfriend. That was tough for me because we really had a strong bond, but too many things were off and I couldn't take it anymore. Isn't that something? We have to understand that. Right? Those deep bonds, the twin flame, the soulmate, they too are subject to suffering, to circumstances, to conditions, right? Some things will be off. And that doesn't belittle, it wasn't real love. We weren't really bonded. People make up these kind of nonsense, this bullshit, right? Because they think it's supposed to be a certain way. Of course not. It's going to be both. It's always both. Okay? You always get Buddha and Mara. You do not just get to choose one or the other. Oh my. Yeah. I have had those relationships, right? I haven't found, don't have the one that would last a lifetime, which of course really doesn't even exist. I have had those relationships that were just this incredible bonding, you know, like two faces on the same soul, finishing each other's sentences, reaching for the light switch at the same time, and also full of conflict. the stuff bumping up, because it's not supposed to be idyllically perfect. If you want idyllic perfect, you get born into the realm of the divas and you get stuck there for 10,000 years until you finally realize that you need to be reborn as a human so that you can truly understand Buddha and Mara and go beyond into nirvana, which is beyond heaven and hell, beyond soulmates, beyond all of it. And then you find that both nirvana and samsara are the same. Buddha and Mara are the same guy. I've even seen some incredibly beautiful statues of Buddha with that, you know, the half smile and the half closed eyes and the just pure tranquility, and on the other side, Mara. Incredible. Mary says, awesome answer, G, about anxiety. Hope more space and stop me from taking a Xanax. Good. It is my job to put the Xanax And Prozac manufacturers out of business forever. Thank you. You were useful for a time. We don't need you anymore. Dee Dee says, I think through the twin flame concept, we find the most safety, knowing someone there would be like us, for us, for our highest good, and the idea of a highest love. Oh, beautiful. Yes, of course. And it is everyone's heart's desire, right? We not only want to experience the twin, we want to be that. We want to be that for somebody else, knowing they're there, knowing we're like them. We're there for them, for their highest good, for the idea of a highest love. It's always, and this is the heart of compassion. This is the heart of Christ, the heart of the Buddha. Right? To be that. We all want that. We want to experience it towards us, and we want to emanate it outwards from us as well. This is the beauty of the human experience. You can't experience these opposites anywhere else. In the realm of the hell beings or the hungry ghosts, the devils and the fires that burn forever up in heaven, where everything is wonderful and you can eat all you want and not get fat. It's like, oh, now here, right here, this is the realm of the twin flames, the realm of the soulmates, the realm, Mara and Buddha are soulmates. They are twin flames. Talk about a match made in heaven, hell. To find out that this highest love is in ourselves or in us. But still, here's a woman with human desires. Amen. Yes. This idea that somehow there's this spiritual state and then I don't need anybody anymore, right? It's all within me. I find this highest love in myself. Well, okay, you found the highest love in yourself. Well, what the hell do you do with it? Oh, I got it now, right? What do you do with it? You let it explode outward. And if you happen to be in a female body, you let it explode out to a male body. If that's your preference, or another female. It doesn't matter. It just has to explode outward. It has to manifest itself. Love is not fine china. It just doesn't sit there on the shelf very properly. It's not stone. It is the action of life, right? And so, yeah, we want to find that highest in ourselves, not to be separated from others, but to be one with others. And the oneness gets expressed in the many. It gets it gets expressed in parenthood, in great lovemaking, in making art, right? And appreciating art, looking at a sunset and just being blown away. That's it. And completely embracing the woman with human desires, because that's it. This is the expression of the absolute. You don't transcend her, you liberate her, right? You fully embrace the humanness. That's the true Buddha. The ordinary human being is the Buddha. Buddha himself said it. The Zen master said, the Buddha is your mind. What? So is Mara. They're all your mind. And so thoroughly embrace that woman with all of her desires and just put them out there to the universe. There's nothing more powerful and beautiful than a woman completely in touch with herself, who has liberated herself from all of the other stuff and completely embraced her humanity. And that embrace of humanity is the true Buddha. That is the true Christ. That is the true Savior. That is the true Messiah. Oh, love to hear that. Love to hear that. Human desires have strange motivations. Us in allness. Once human desires have been divorced from the conditioned patterns of the false sense of self, of the egoic mind, right? their motivations are absolutely pure. And you see that desire itself is arising out of this vast emptiness, from the same emptiness from which Buddha has arisen comes desire. The Prajna Paramita is pictured as the womb of a woman, dark, quiet, warm, right? And it says that that is the womb of all Buddhas, the divine mother from which we all proceed, and of which the human woman is the perfect manifestation. And so you see, there are no strange motivations except to the egoic mind with all of its preferences and stuff. That's why we transcend it. Not because it's this evil thing, right? But because we want to liberate human life. And so that there's not this other divine state out there somewhere that we get to. We find that the human and the divine are one. Buddha and Mara are one. I and my Father are one. Me and the Divine Mother are one. Thank you, Dee Dee. Divine 5353, GP, is there a way we can help others dismantle their defense systems so more core energy, real self can come online? Absolutely. It's what I do all day, every day. This, right? Now, you can't do it unless they want you to. Truth is very polite. It's like, oh, okay, have a nice day, and off it goes. So what you can do first and foremost is dismantle your own. To the degree that you have dismantled your own, to that degree will you be able to create a safe enough space for others to be able to dismantle them. Remember, the defense system is in place because it's in danger. Right? It assumes it's in danger, and therefore the defenses are there. So the only way in which the defenses come down is if the whole system detects that it's safe. It's simple as that. Now, the more you've done that in yourself, the safer you become. Right? Until the time you are so safe that absolutely anything can come to you in any form, and that safety will be there. And of course, the more safe you are, it's like a heat-seeking missile, right? That in every individual that is seeking that safe place, and we all are, it will find you, right? It's going to find the safest place in the room. Don't you do that? You go somewhere, a networking event or some party or something. Don't you kind of feel, you kind of gravitate towards the places that are most safe, right? I mean, it's what we all do, right? Because you can sense that it's safe there. Now, sometimes it's safe only because it's familiar and not because it's really safe. And that takes some wisdom to start to be able to discern the difference. And sometimes we have to be in places that we don't feel safe. We're completely out of our element, completely out of our comfort zone. And we have to okay, let some aspect of me now appear that will only appear under this and this condition. So that's how you do it. You reconcile with yourself. That's the whole 3 levels of inner reconciliation. That's all it is how to really allow the defensive system to detect that it's no longer dangerous, and the defenses come down. That's what happens if you do a meditation. I do meditations with people. I do in reconciliation. I do tapping and the like. And they say, oh God, it's just kind of calm. The energy is moving. That is the defenses coming down. That's what it is. We feel that as calm, as relaxation, as it's kind of an assuaging of anxiety. The scary thoughts aren't so scary anymore, right? Because the defenses are down, right? And there's only one way to do that, and that is to become safe. That's it. You must become safe for yourself. You must become your own trusted advisor, your own best friend. And when you do that, you automatically become the best friend of everybody else around you. And to the degree that you do that, To that degree will you be doing it for others. Thank you, Divine. Lisa. So Lord, please make it happen. Sent this soul in this heavenly male body to stay with me permanently. The heavenly male body. Not exactly sure what that looks like, but you do know what it is. Just cherish that desire. Recognize that all desire arises from that same place that Buddha arose. It's the same place. It's the mother of all things. It is the creative energy. Right? Cherish it as such. Your mind will keep focusing, I don't have it, how do I get it? God, do I have to join Match.com, eHarmony? Do I have to join them all? JDate? Why? And do I have to make the perfect profile? Your mind will try to make some way to make it happen. You don't need to. Don't do that. Instead, cherish the desire. Think of it as if you're the garden and a seed has been planted in that garden. You can feel it. And there's something wonderful there and warm. And that's your only job. Clear away the junk, water it, care for it, and then let it grow. Don't try to force it to grow. Don't think you can make too fast. It's a seed you've planted. You don't even know what the seed is. You don't even know what kind of plant it's going to be. Just nurture it and cherish it as a gift. This is the part of the unfoldment of life, desire and fulfillment. It's part of the wheel. Don't hang on to the desire part, right? Or you'll just be flipped around. Be in the center where it's not moving, where both the desire and the fulfillment are aspects that are appearing to you. And your peace and your sense of wholeness won't go fluctuate with the desire and its fulfillment. Because remember, some desires don't get fulfilled. Some are fulfilled and then it fades. Right? Everything is impermanent. Right? So cherish the desire, because without the desire, there would be no fulfillment. It is the yin and the yang. Every stick has two ends. Oh, so beautiful, Lisa. So beautiful. I just love that. I just love your romantic heart. I've always been a hopeless romantic, I'm afraid. Dale, any advice for those who feel like they have learned not to identify with thought, but feel as if the thoughts are so powerless that they aren't arriving enough now to drive them to action? Yes, that's another thought. Right? Thoughts do not have power, you do. Don't give to the thoughts the energy of the motivation that belongs only to you. Just check in. Notice that behind all that, there's a feeling as if I need more, there's some energy that appears to be missing in my life. Right? Now, you know well enough that there's actually nothing missing in your life, right? But that the great something that is you must manifest itself. And what is life other than this constant flow of motivation, desire and fulfillment? That is the wheel of life, right? And so if you happen to be at a dry time where you're not feeling so motivated, don't worry about the thoughts, right? Because don't re-identify with them, because the thoughts are just thoughts. They're just passing through. Right? But find the center, right? And recognize that center, while it is empty, is not void. It has energy in it. Right? Out of the emptiness comes the passion, comes the motivation, comes all manifestation. Right? It comes out of it. Right? So that motivation, that energy, that drive you're seeking isn't in the thoughts, it's in you. So don't let there be a thought that says you have been deprived of that. You haven't. If you had, you wouldn't be even asking the question about it. You wouldn't care, right? but you're feeling that sense that, right? It's, I was sitting at the TV. I don't have a TV. Sitting in front of the fireplace, looking at that fire. It was a motivation, wasn't it? Right? Something inside me reaching out. What's this? What's next? Even though I wasn't articulate, I wasn't even aware of it. Right? And all of a sudden, what happens? Boom! This. Right? Which seems to be a theme that everybody is enjoying. So be with that quiet place, right? Recognizing that you don't have to manufacture the drive or the motivation. It doesn't come from thoughts. It is the power of life itself, with which you you are that in which that life is happening, and you are also that which that life is manifesting. You are both sides of the coin at the same time. And don't think life has run out of energy. Right? Instead, just be with that quiet emptiness, because that's where it comes from. Just be that emptiness, right? That is the source of all things. Be that prajna paramita, which is the mother of all Buddhas. Be that womb. Does that help, my friend? Mary, thank you for being my backdrop, GP. You're welcome. Carl, the twin flame journey and non-dual teachings both led me to the same place eventually. Ah, yeah. Yes. It's all non-dual. The dual is non-dual. Right? There's a popular way of trying to teach non-duality as if it was different from duality. How could that be? Duality and non-duality are one, as is Buddha and Mara, as is Christ and Beelzebub. They're one. They're twin flames. Right? So the actual oneness, the real one, is beyond any kind of you can't even. It's beyond all opposites. You can't think of it as dual and non-dual anymore. They're one. The dual is the non-dual. The non-dual is the dual. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. The Buddha is Mara. Mara is the Buddha. So yes, they're all going to lead to the same place. Right? You. The place of no thing. Yeah, the place of no thing, but not nothing. Oh, good Lord, not nothing. Look at the universe. Hardly nothing. Where did that come from? From nothing? No. Obviously not. Actually, the evangelical Christians criticize science, materialistic science, by saying, well, the universe was created. The universe couldn't be created out of nothing, right? But if you look at it, and it can't, of course, right? But science never said that. I mean, there's just this indescribably large amount of energy which exploded. Okay? So we're not nothing there. But the evangelicals do. Well, they run into a bit of a predicament. And Mary said, awesome talk about Buddha and Mara. Thank you. I just saw your name, and I know that you came out of that evangelical world. They run into a predicament because, I mean, you got three choices, right? When you have that kind of materialistic view of creation. One is, God did make something out of nothing. God's sitting here for eternity, no time, no nothing, just one day, and there is no days. I mean, I'm going to make something, and he makes it out of nothing, right? Which they themselves say you can't do. All right, well, maybe can God do it? I don't know. What's he going to do? I mean, if you look at the Bible, he moved around the face of the void. The void was already there. He made man of the dust of the earth, right? He used the material that was available, like a creative craftsman, right? So that means that then there must have been the other two choices. Is there's God, and then there's this stuff, right, separate from God, that God then turns into a universe. Right? So there had to have been some stuff. It might as well have been a big bang or something. God kind of poked it to see what would happen. But at any rate, there has to be God and something else. Right? And it actually would have to then be coexistent with God. He would not be the creator of it. Ooh, that's a problem for evangelicals. Well, the third option, and that is it was made out of himself, that he was the substance of it. Well, this is the Hindu view. Right? This is the Eastern view, that God is immanent in all of creation, out of myself, it says in the Upanishads. All of this is myself, for it is all poured forth from me. And it hasn't just poured forth as separate from me. I'm immanent in it. It is me, in which case God's making everything out of himself. He doesn't disappear into it. It is me. Let's see how the evangelicals deal with that. Don't know why I thought of that. Oh, because I'm married. That's why. Carl, GP, why is it called a spiritual journey? Is it not a consciousness journey? Is our spiritual self just not one aspect of ourselves? Yet so much emphasis seems to be placed on it. It's just a word, spiritual. It's a word to try to point to that which is not material, that is beyond that. You can use consciousness. You can use awareness. You can even say there's no journey at all. Where am I going? I'm right here. Is the infinite going somewhere? We have this incredible unfoldment. What we are experiencing in this moment is the not two that is two. Right? And so from within that experience that we're all having and we're all sharing, how do we name it? Well, I call it spiritual. We can call it spiritual because it's focusing more on the self, on spirituality, not the forms, not the construction of this and that, right? I'm not focused on the cup, which, right? I'm focused on the tea. What's in the cup? What's in here, right? I go beyond. I'm not just focusing on the form of this body and its what it looks like and its age, and what's happened to it over the years. What's inside? What's animating it? Right? And so the word spirit, spiritual, has grown out of that. Spiritus, meaning animate, right? It refers to the animation of this, right? And so the word spirit, but of course it's gotten twisted around. Spirits, there are good and evil spirits. I'm a spirit in the body or a soul or something like that. And there's a spiritual self as opposed to, it really is just a reference to the, spiritus sanctus, the sacred spirit, the animating principle, the first principle. What is that? Right? That we want to know that, right? And it's also another word that was used that gets translated as spirit is pneuma, which stands for breath or wind, right? Often referred to as the sacred wind, the wind of animation. And Christ talking about that the tree bends where the wind blows, but you cannot tell where it's coming from or where it's going because it's invisible. He says, like that is the nature of those born of the Spirit, born of the animating principle, reborn out of the purely instinctual animal nature and into the resurrection of the Spirit, the animating principle, that which is not even in the body, but like the tree being blown in the wind is actually moving the body, both from within and without. It's in the entire universe. It's in the entire environment. It is all that. Wow. So I grab these words and bring them back to make them mean what I think they originally intended, or certainly what I'm intending them to mean. Because the word spiritual is, one of those other things that's gotten corrupted, as is yoga, as is enlightenment, as is awakening, as is meditation. They've all been kind of diluted, even corrupted, right? By simply a misunderstanding, by not understanding what they're pointing to, right? If we don't know what they're pointing to, the words themselves start mutating into all sorts of different definitions, depending on the culture, the time, the place, the people. But the spirit, what is spirit? But it is you. It is whatever it is that's animating this body. And of course it's another word for you. It's another word for God. It's another word for soul. It's another word for the self. That's how I use it. And I'm holding on to my version of it. I'm reclaiming it. How's that, Carl? Colleen, I want freedom no matter what. Okay, good. Colleen, I agree. So, who put you in bondage? Look at that carefully. Ponder that. Chew that. I read recently, it was in a little Advaita story of a young monk who said the same thing to the old master. He said, how can I ever attain this emancipation? The old monk said, who put you in bondage? Ponder that. Who put you in bondage? Or maybe you could even say, who told you you weren't free? And why did you believe them? Simple answer for you, Colleen. Chew that. I mean, take that deep into your heart. Where is this bondage that I'm trying to escape from? Where does it exist? If any place other than my own mind. So who put me there? Thank you for that. Lovely, lovely. Gee, you're a master in how to talk to, how to be with, how to treat nervous energy system with love and trust, but at the same time, from my true position. After all these beautiful years with your guidance, I begin to feel it now. Ah, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lisa, made me laugh, love, and smile a lot tonight again. Thank you, GP. Oh, you're welcome, Lisa. You're welcome. It's a lucky man out there somewhere waiting for you. Facebook, hello from Pakistan. Hello, Facebook user in Pakistan. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Maybe God broke his own balloon, its own water bag. I am Drifter. Thank you for sharing from the soul today, G. The impact continues. Love, love, love. You're welcome. Welcome. Lisa, all right. Twin Flame Show on Om School Live after this week's on perfectionism. On the Om School Live that I do, that Lisa produces and co-host, host with me. She's the one that picks all the subjects. My job is to figure out what to do with them, but she picks all the subjects. I really like that. I really like, and she's just coming right from her own experience, what she sees in people and stuff like that. So she's a great mirror for me, a great conduit, a great channel for what's going on out there, because I can get kind of lost out there. God and its creation are one and the same. Yes. They're one and the same. There is no separation. And lifestyle, Lisa Berry, their twinning idea. Hello, Susanna. Well, this is so perfect for what has transpired for me today and feels like an extension of today's revelations. Beautiful. Love that. Teacup is already broken. Yes. Tea with G and cake for the soul. Thank you always for this tea time treat. Oh, you're welcome, David and Elaine. Very, very welcome. Thank you, G. When is your audiobook available? Really enjoyed tea with you. You're amazing human in spirit. Well, thank you very much. You have to ask Lisa. She's in charge of it. Lisa is the actual CEO of Om School, not me. I'm kind of pastor emeritus and spiritual guide. She is the chief executive officer and chief cheerleading officer. So when Lisa tells me it's ready, it's ready. But it's all recorded and edited and mixed and all of that. We have 2 chapters that Lisa's going to narrate to fill that out. The PDF is done. We've read it. I read it right off of so the audiobook is almost done. The PDF is done. That is, so it's only a matter of, it's only weeks, I would think. Yeah. We also have another class coming up. It was going to be this week, but we're behind, so it's going to be next week. On oneness and trauma and all that good stuff, all that fun stuff. So I'll be telling everybody about it. So you will all be notified as long as you're on the mailing list to get the light letter. Everything goes out there. So Ava, thank you, everyone. Yes, who put me in bondage? Yes. Thank you, Jean, everyone, for your presence. Great tea time together. Mara and Buddha are twin flames. It is awesome, isn't it? Mara, my old friend, come, let's have tea. What a great metaphor for how to approach our own deep traumas and pains and wounds. Come for tea. And on that note, the queue is empty, and my teacup has gotten cold, so it is time for a refresher. Oh, my lovely friends, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, G, and everyone. Wonderful afternoon in West Texas. You really don't know how much you all mean to me. You really don't. Thank you all. Bye, loves.